The last thing I remember was the blue flash from the wall socket, the smell of burnt plastic, and a force that felt like a linebacker's tackle slamming me into the floor. My name is Leo Young. I'm a software engineer, the kind of quiet, reliable guy who's married for 3 years and treats his wife, Chloe, like a queen. So when the outlet in our bedroom went on the fritz 2 weeks ago, and she said calling an electrician was a waste of money, I didn't argue. Honey, you're a tech guy, she'd said. This should be a piece of cake for you. I believed her. Famous last words. I don't know how long I was out, but I came to in a fog of confusion and noise. Is he awake? He's not dead, is he? Better if he was. Then he wouldn't have to deal with that cheating shrew and her boyfriend. Look, his eyelids are moving. I cracked my eyes open, my head pounding like a drum solo. The room was spinning, but I was alone. Where were the voices coming from? Was I hallucinating? I pushed myself up, and the mattress underneath me let out a groan that wasn't just springs. Well, look who's finally awake, the mattress grumbled. Your wife and that smelly-footed jackass were trying to break my frame all night. My coils may never recover. I froze, every muscle in my body tensing. The mattress? The mattress was talking? The shock must have fried a circuit in my brain. My eyes shot to the nightstand, to the wedding photo of me and Chloe. She was smiling, looking so gentle and sweet. The picture frame let out a long, weary sigh. Don't bother looking. She's been playing you for a fool since day one. The password to the bank account where she's hiding your money is taped to my back. My mind went blank, a dial tone buzzing in my ears. With a trembling hand, I picked up the frame. Sure enough, a small sticky note was pressed against the cardboard backing, a string of numbers written on it. From by the door, a pair of slippers chimed in. That guy wears me every time he comes over. His athlete's foot is so bad. I think I'm developing a fungal infection. Good. Just great. You all want to play dirty? Then you won't mind if I team up with every sentient piece of furniture in this house. Just then, I heard Chloe's syrupy voice from the living room. Marco, stop it. You're terrible, she giggled. A greasy male voice followed. Come on, baby. You know I can't get enough of you. Where's that loser, Leo? In the bedroom. Tried to fix an outlet and knocked himself out. He's getting more useless by the day. Her tone was dripping with contempt. My hands clenched into fists, my knuckles white. Marco, her supposed family friend, practically a brother to her, she'd said. An unemployed bum who was always at our place, eating our food, asking me to help him find a job. I thought he was just shameless. I never imagined. I threw off the covers and stormed to the bedroom door. On the living room sofa, Chloe was wrapped in Marco's arms, the two of them locked in a passionate kiss. My blood boiled, rushing to my head. The sofa itself let out a muffled scream. Oh God, help me. He's stuffing his used tissues down my cushions again. The absolute filth. They heard my footsteps and sprang apart. A flicker of panic crossed Chloe's face before she smoothed it over with a look of concern. Honey, you're awake. Are you okay? She moved toward me, but I flinched away. Marco just straightened his shirt, a smug grin on his face. Leo, good timing. Chloe and I were just discussing some business. Business? On my couch. I wanted to smash his oily face in. Seeing the look on my face, Chloe jumped in. Honey, you look so pale. You should go lie down. Marco and I were just talking about a new boutique I want to open. I forced down the volcano of rage, threatening to erupt. I nodded slowly. Yeah, I'm still a little dizzy. I'll just rest for a bit. The moment I turned back to the bedroom, I heard Chloe whisper to Marco, the idiot. He's totally clueless. I lay on the bed, closed my eyes, and listened. The entire house came alive, a Greek chorus of betrayal, bombarding me with the brutal truth. The smart TV in the corner spoke up. They love watching the premium adult channels. I feel so dirty. The closet sighed. Chloe's bought more designer clothes for Marco than she has underwear for you. The kitchen trash can added, and I'm the one who had to dispose of his used condom last week. The nerve. Each voice was a needle, piercing my heart. My entire 3-year marriage was a lie. I wasn't a husband. I was a live-in ATM and handyman, a walking, talking doormat. Anger, humiliation, disgust. It all churned inside me. But then a cold calm washed over me. Confront them now? That would be letting them off too easy. A slow, cold smile spread across my face. If the universe was going to give me this bizarre gift, I'd be a fool not to use it. The next morning, I acted like nothing had happened. I got up and made breakfast, same as always. Chloe came out of the bedroom humming, looking pleased with herself. "Morning, sweetie. What's for breakfast?" I said nothing, just slid a plate of fried eggs in front of her. The plate immediately started complaining. "Don't you dare eat me. The bastard growing in your belly doesn't deserve food made by this good man." I almost choked, tried to hold back a laugh. I decided to start with my number one informant, Buddy, our golden retriever. I found him sunbathing on the porch. I knelt down and whispered, "Hey, Buddy, can you understand me?" Buddy's head snapped up, his big brown eyes wide. "Holy crap, you can understand me? The dude who scoops my poop can speak, dog." He leaped to his feet, his tail wagging so hard his whole body wiggled. "Oh man, I've been holding in for 3 years. I have so much to tell you." The floodgates opened. Buddy unloaded years of grievances. "You have no idea how bad it's been. That Marco guy, he always steals my jerky treats." And Chloe yells at me for begging. "Last week, he left a bunch of sharp rib bones on his plate, and Chloe tried to give them to me. Does she want me to perforate my own intestine? And this is the big one." Buddy lowered his voice, leaning in conspiratorially. "Chloe's pregnant, but I can smell it on her. She smells exactly like that greasy creep, Marco. That pup is definitely not yours, dude." The world tilted on its axis. We've been trying for a baby for 3 years. When Chloe told me she was pregnant a few weeks ago, I was ecstatic. Turns out, I was just the sucker who was going to pay for it all. I felt dizzy, grabbing the wall to steady myself. From the study, the safe joined the conversation, its metallic voice trembling. "Don't feel bad, buddy. That 30 grand you had stashed in me, she took it all last month to buy her brother a sports car. I'm totally empty inside, except for some expired tax returns." I stumbled into the study and wrenched open the safe. It was, of course, completely empty. $30,000 I'd painstakingly saved over the years. Gone. Just then, the doorbell rang. Chloe answered it with a cheerful squeal. It was her family. Her mother swept in, grabbing Chloe's hands. "My sweet girl, you've done this family proud." Her brother, Kyle, slouched in behind her. He saw me, and his eyes lit up. "Hey, Leo. So, my sister's pregnant. Don't you think she deserves a little reward?" I was thinking that condo over at the Azure Vista would make a great starter home for me. So I could be close by to help with my future nephew. I was shaking with rage. At the dinner table, my mother-in-law piled food onto Chloe's plate. "Eat up, sweetheart. You're eating for 2 now." Kyle, meanwhile, devoured half a chicken by himself. The plate and silverware in front of me were practically vibrating with indignation. "Look at these pigs," my bowl muttered. "They eat like they've been starved for a month." "Don't touch me with that greasy rib," my fork shrieked. "You'll get oil all over me." I watched their happy, oblivious faces and felt a plan begin to form. I stood up, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. "Chloe's pregnancy is a huge deal. You're right. We should celebrate. Let me go cook up something special for you all." Chloe looked smug. "That's more like it." Her mother sniffed. "About time you showed some appreciation." I walked into the kitchen and shut the door. I looked at the appliances around me and grinned like a demon. "All right, team, let's get to work." I was holding a war council. "Range hood, on my signal, I want you to reverse the fan and smoke them out." The hood hummed in agreement. "You got it. I'll smoke that old bat like a Christmas ham." "Kitchen faucet, you're on precision strike duty." "Same target." The faucet trembled with excitement. "Leave it to me. I'll give her a baptism she won't forget." My mother-in-law grew impatient and pushed open the kitchen door. "What's taking so long? A grown man who can't even cook a simple meal." She leaned over the sink to peer into the pot on the stove. With a thought, I gave the command. "Now!" The faucet handle flew up on its own, and a powerful jet of water shot out, hitting her directly in the face. "Ugh!" she shrieked, stumbling back, her wig knocked askew. "Now, what the hell is wrong with your plumbing?" I feigned innocence, shrugging. "I have no idea, Mom. It must be getting old." She stormed out, muttering curses under her breath. Dinner was finally served. When I brought out a platter of glistening, golden brown fried chicken, Kyle's eyes nearly popped out his head. He immediately stabbed his fork into the largest, juiciest thigh. But just as he was lifting it to his mouth, I gently tapped the leg of the table with my foot. My fork, a willing co-conspirator, gave a little twitch. The piece of chicken flew through the air in a perfect arc and landed directly in Buddy's waiting mouth under the table. Woof! Buddy barked triumphantly, trotting off to a corner to enjoy his prize. Kyle stared at his empty fork, then at me. My chicken. You did that on purpose. Did what? Looks like your hand slipped, Kyle, I said, my face a mask of innocence. Just then, the doorbell rang again. It was Marco, holding a bag of groceries and smiling his greasy smile. Hey everyone, heard the good news and had to come congratulate the new mom-to-be. He slipped on my slippers and plopped down in his favorite spot on the couch. A cold glint in my eye. I sent a mental command to the robot vacuum charging in the corner. Rambo, target acquired. Attack the ankles. Rambo, who had always been a cantankerous little machine, hated Marco with a passion. It shot out of its docking station like a guided missile, homing in on Marco's feet with terrifying speed. Yeah, Marco screamed, leaping up from the couch. The bowl of hot soup in his lap went flying, drenching his crotch. HHHH, IT burns, he howled, hopping around like a man possessed. The room erupted into chaos. Chloe rushed to his side, while her mother pointed a trembling finger at me. Leo, all this cheap junk you buy, are you trying to kill us? I stood up slowly and shrugged. Maybe it just doesn't like certain people. It's the latest in artificial intelligence. It has a mind of its own. Watching them scramble, I felt a deep, satisfying thrill. And this was only the beginning. That night, I told them I had an urgent deadline at work and had to pull an all-nighter. In reality, I checked into a nearby hotel, opened my laptop, and logged into my home smart network. The real show was about to begin. Around 11, I figured everyone was asleep. And as expected, Marco had stayed over. My laptop screen was a mosaic of security camera feeds. My little spies were all in place. Sure enough, the living room camera showed Marco sneaking out of the guest room and heading for the master bathroom. Ugh, so gross, the camera complained into my headphones. When is this guy gonna leave? It was time for Act 1, Bathroom of Horrors. The moment Marco sat down on the toilet, I clicked a button on my screen. Activate. Power wash. Temperature. Ice cold. A blood-curdling scream echoed from the bathroom. An industrial-strength jet of frigid water was blasting him right where it hurts. He tried to stand but couldn't. Activate. Adhesive seat. Temperature. 180 degrees. The toilet seat heated up instantly, practically searing his skin, while a strange suction held him in place. Help me. Chloe, help. Chloe, startled awake, ran to the bathroom. Marco, what's wrong? As she reached for him, I hit the next command. Activate. Terror party mode. The bathroom lights began to flicker like a strobe. The smart speaker blared a terrifying horror movie soundtrack, complete with a woman's desperate sobs. A ghost! Chloe shrieked. Before they could recover, the overhead shower turned on, drenching them both in a downpour of ice-cold water. They scrambled out of the bathroom, soaked and shivering, Marco barely managing to hold up his pants. They ran to the living room thermostat to crank up the heat. I just smiled. Air conditioning, override. Set to 30 degrees. Fan speed, max. A bone-chilling gust of Arctic air blasted through the vents, making their teeth chatter. What was happening to this house? Marco stammered, his lips blue. Chloe hugged herself, her face pale. I don't know. All this smart home crap Leo bought. It's gone insane. I watched them huddled together on the screen and laughed out loud. The cameras recorded everything, helpfully providing color commentary. Yes, crank it up. Freeze the cheating scumbags. I saved multiple copies of the high-definition video, after carefully adding some digital blurring to the most sensitive areas, of course. The next morning, my phone rang. It was Chloe, her voice a mix of terror and rage. Now, you get back here right now. Every appliance in this house has lost its mind. Did you do something? I faked a yawn. Of course not, honey. I've been at the office all night. Are you sure you guys didn't do something to, I don't know, anger the spirits? There was a long silence on the other end of the line, followed by the sound of her ragged breathing. After their smart home haunting, Chloe's family laid low for a couple of days. But it didn't last. They called a family meeting a full-blown intervention. My mother-in-law slammed her hand on the table. Now, Chloe is carrying my grandchild. As the man of this house, it's time for you to step up. Kyle leaned back in his chair. Exactly. My sister is going through so much. The least you can do is sign that condo over to me. It'll be my wedding gift, and I'll be close enough to help out with the baby. Marco chimed in with a fake sincere tone. We're all family here, Leo. Don't be so selfish. It's all for the baby. Chloe just stroked her still flat stomach, a look of pure entitlement on her face. My brother's right, honey. And while we're at it, I should take over your direct deposit. Our expenses are about to go way up. They had it all rehearsed. A year ago, I might have fallen for theirs for your own good routine. Now it just made me sick. I looked at their greedy faces, my heart cold as ice, but I put on a troubled expression. Mom, Kyle, you're right. The condo, my salary, these are big decisions. The deed and some other papers are in my car. Let me go grab them, and we can sort this out. My mother-in-law beamed. That's my boy. Hurry back now. I went down to my 5-year-old Buick. The moment I shut the door, a world-weary voice came through the speakers. Man, am I glad to see you. I thought I was going to explode. It was my car. What's wrong? I asked. Last week, while you were on that business trip, she drove me out to some fancy lake house. And you know what was in my trunk? Stacks of cash and gold bars. It was so heavy, I thought my suspension was going to give out. My blood ran cold. The dash cam on the windshield blinked its little red light. Yeah, and I recorded them talking. They said they were going to launder the money, move it to an offshore account, and then kick you to the curb once you were broke. A lake house? Cash and gold? Do you know the address? Of course I do, my Buick said proudly. My GPS is top of the line. It's number 12, Lakeside Vista, just off the Old Mountain Highway. Dash cam, you still have a recording? You bet. I've got the juiciest parts on a loop for you. I started the engine. All right, guys, let's go pay them a visit. Following my car's directions, I found the secluded house. A keypad lock was on the front door. As I wondered how to get in, the lock itself beeped. Welcome, a robotic voice announced. The password is 123456. Those idiots never changed the factory default. I smirked and let myself in. The place was lavishly decorated. On the coffee table in the living room was a mountain of cash, next to open cases filled with gold bars and luxury watches. In the study, I found a ledger. It detailed exactly how Chloe, with Marco's help, had been siphoning funds from my company's project accounts into their own. My dear wife and her brother. What a team. I took out my phone and photographed everything, every stack of cash, every page of the ledger. Then I took the original ledger, a few of the thickest gold bars, and a couple of bricks of $100 bills for myself. Thanks for the help, guys, I said to the house on my way out. I owe you one. A large safe in the corner hummed contentedly. Come back anytime. These two are so cheap, they never even get us serviced. It's like a breath of fresh air having you here. I drove away, whistling, feeling lighter than I had in years. Chloe, Marco, your judgment day is coming. My mother-in-law's 60th birthday party was a huge affair. She'd rented out a hotel ballroom, invited every distant relative she could find. The theme of the evening was simple, showing off her daughter's rich, successful husband. After a few drinks, she stood up, beaming, and pulled me to her side. Friends and family, in addition to my birthday, I have another wonderful announcement. To celebrate my daughter's pregnancy, my son-in-law, Leo, has decided to gift us a beautiful new condo at the Azure Vista. The room erupted in applause and envious gasps. Chloe snuggled against me, her smile triumphant. Marco sat at the main table, playing the role of the devoted brother, constantly putting food on her plate. I heard the whispers from the other tables. Who's that guy? He's a little too friendly with Chloe. Oh, that's her brother. They've been close since they were kids. Still, you'd think he'd show a little respect. Leo must be a saint. I listened, my face a blank mask. Then it was my turn to give a speech. I took the microphone, a gentle smile on my face. Thank you all for coming to celebrate my mother-in-law's birthday. And I do have a special gift prepared. It's a video, a little collection of our family's most memorable moments. I'd love to share it with you all. I gave a nod to the technician by the projector. Chloe and her mother looked ecstatic. They thought this was it, my final public surrender. The large screen behind me lit up, but instead of a heartwarming family slideshow, the image that appeared was of a dimly lit bathroom. On the screen, a man in bright red boxer briefs was trapped on a toilet, howling as he was blasted with water. A woman in a nightgown was trying frantically to pull him free. Is that Marco and Chloe? Someone whispered. The entire ballroom fell silent, then erupted in a wave of shocked murmurs. Marco's ridiculous red underwear was on full display in high definition. His screams echoed through the sound system. The scene changed to the dashcam footage, their conversation crisp and clear. Leo, that idiot, still thinks the baby is his. As soon as we get the condo, we're kicking him out. You're a genius, Marco. You've got him wrapped around your little finger. Don't worry, babe. Once we've drained his accounts, we'll be on a beach in the Caribbean. He won't know what hit him. The smile on my mother-in-law's face froze and shattered. Her wine glass slipped from her hand and smashed on the floor. Chloe let out a horrified shriek and lunged for the projector, trying to unplug it. Turn it off. Turn it off now. But the sound system seemed to have a mind of its own. It cranked the volume to the maximum and began to loop a single damning phrase. Leo, that idiot. 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 The words echoed through the hall, a monument to their greed and my humiliation. I stood on the stage, watching the chaos unfold, and held up my hands in a gesture of helplessness. Oh dear. It seems the projector is acting up. It must be fate. All eyes turned to me. Shock, pity, disgust, a little bit of dark amusement. All I could do was smile. The party ended in disaster. Chloe's family was utterly disgraced. The second we got home, her mother and Kyle lunged at me. You bastard, Leo. I'll kill you. Before they could reach me, Rambo the robot vacuum shot across the floor and slammed directly into Kyle's shin. He screamed and collapsed, clutching his leg. My mother-in-law tried to run for the door to get help, but the smart lock wouldn't budge. Unauthorized access, a cold, mechanical voice announced. System lockdown engaged. I calmly pulled a document from my briefcase and tossed it on the coffee table. Divorce papers. Sign them. Chloe, her hair a mess, her eyes red and wild, stared at me. Divorce? In your dreams, Leo. The house, the car, it's all marital property. You try to divorce me, and I'll sue you for abuse, for defamation. Abuse. I laughed. You mean Rambo defending his owner? Or the door refusing to open for a stranger? I sat down on the couch and pulled out a stack of photos, the ones from the lake house, showing them with the cash and gold. Then came the ledger detailing their embezzlement. And finally, a single piece of paper. What's that? Chloe asked, her voice trembling. Oh, just a paternity test, I said casually. Had it done a little while ago, just in case. Turns out there's a 99.99% probability that Marco is the biological father of your child. As I'd predicted, she completely fell apart. No, that's impossible. It's fake. Marco, panicking, pointed at me. You're lying. That's a forgery. We'll find out for sure when the baby's born, won't we? I leaned back, though I doubt you'll be around for that. I took out my phone and dialed. Hello, Detective Miller. I'd like to report a case of corporate embezzlement and fraud. The amount is substantial. The primary suspect's name is Marco. The color drained from Marco's face. But I wasn't done. I looked at Chloe and smiled. Oh, and by the way, honey, to help you get that little boutique of yours started, I took out a few small business loans in your name. Just some seed money, you know. I think the first payments are due this week. You're lying, she shrieked, fumbling for her phone to check her bank account. When she saw the long string of negative numbers, her eyes rolled back in her head, and she fainted. Her mother and Kyle just stared dumbfounded. The ensuing silence was broken by a storm of accusations. You useless girl, Kyle screamed at his unconscious sister. You couldn't even keep one simple man under control. Now you've ruined us all. His mother sat on the floor and began to wail, pounding her fists on his back. The dog-eat-dog spectacle had officially begun. Without another glance, I went upstairs, packed a small bag, and grabbed my laptop. Come on, buddy. Come on, Rambo. We're moving. Buddy trotted happily at my heels. Rambo buzzed over and nudged my leg. I opened the now-compliant front door and walked out, leaving the screaming and crying behind me. It was the soundtrack to my new life. I moved with Buddy and my most loyal appliances into a spacious downtown loft I'd bought with my premarital savings, something Chloe never knew about. Her family's life, meanwhile, fell apart. Marco's assets were frozen, and he was arrested. Chloe was buried under a mountain of debt, and the bank foreclosed on the house. The three of them had no choice but to move back into their family's tiny, run-down two-bedroom apartment. But I wasn't finished with them. I took one of my old burner phones and tucked it away inside a box of junk they were moving. It became my own personal listening device. Hearing them tear each other apart over dinner became my new favorite pastime. The objects in their old apartment, having heard legends of my deeds through the great grapevine of things, became my willing agents. Whenever Kyle tried to play video games, his computer would crash, or it would shut down right in the middle of a critical moment. He smashed 3 keyboards in frustration. Nice try, loser. The PC tower hummed to itself. Go play in traffic. When his mother tried to cook, the old pressure cooker would mysteriously malfunction, leaving the rice half raw. The knives became clumsy, turning sliced potatoes into chunky blocks. But Chloe had it the worst. She was plagued by nightmares, thanks to the old, creaky bed frame that would groan and shudder all night. Or the bed frame would squeak in a voice only I could hear. You broke my brother's heart. Give him back his dignity. Their lives became a living hell of mutual blame and recrimination. They tried calling repairmen, but whenever a stranger was in the house, everything worked perfectly. The moment the repairman left, the chaos would begin anew. Finally, my ex-mother-in-law hired some sort of psychic who took one step inside, shook her head, and fled without even asking for payment. The vibes in this place are toxic, she'd muttered. I can't do anything here. Listening to the broadcast from my old phone, I'd sit back, cut into a thick, juicy steak, and laugh until tears ran down my cheeks. Buddy would be at my feet, happily gnawing on a bone. This was the life. Under the weight of poverty, hunger, and constant supernatural harassment, Marco, out on bail, finally decided to skip town. He'd hoped Chloe would help him out for old time's sake, but he quickly realized she was just as broke and desperate as he was. One night, while the family was asleep, he tiptoed to her bedside and slipped the envelope of cash she kept hidden under her pillow. Wake up, you idiot, the pillow screamed in Chloe's ear. He's stealing your last dime. But Chloe, thanks to the sleeping pills she'd started taking, was dead to the world. Marco vanished into the night with her last $200. When Chloe woke up and realized what had happened, she had a complete breakdown. As she sat on the floor sobbing, her mother slapped her hard across the face. Now you cry? Who was it that brought that wolf into our house in the first place? You hit me? You were the one pushing me to get that condo out of him. The two of them began fighting, pulling hair and scratching like wild animals. Kyle just stood by watching. Can you two shut up? I'm hungry. Is there any money for groceries? In that moment, something in Chloe finally snapped. She realized that without this stupid, simple man she'd so despised, she was nothing. She couldn't even hold on to a lowlife like Marco. She started to remember all the things I used to do for her, how I put her first, how I worked myself to the bone to give her everything she wanted. A desperate, insane idea took root in her mind. She would win me back. She looked at herself in the bathroom mirror, at her pale, haggard reflection. You've got to be kidding me, the mirror scoffed. You really think he'd take you back looking like that? Take a good, long look at yourself. Somehow, Chloe found my new address. She put on some old clothes, didn't wear any makeup to look more pitiful, and showed up outside my apartment building. She couldn't get past the security gate, so she started making a scene, wailing and crying for all the neighbors to see. Leo, please come out. I know I was wrong. Just talk to me. Honey, our baby can't grow up without a father. Please think of our child. She was putting on an Oscar-worthy performance. I watched the whole thing from my rooftop terrace on the security feed, nearly spitting out my coffee. I had no intention of going down. Instead, I patched my phone into the building's intercom system. Good afternoon, Ms. Chloe, how may I help you? The large video screen on the gate lit up, showing a high-definition close-up of Chloe's tear-streaked face. For good measure, the system's AI automatically applied a sad clown filter, complete with a red nose and cartoonish, streaming tears. The crowd of onlookers started to snicker. She ignored it and pleaded with the camera. Honey, I was wrong. Please forgive me. Let's get back together. Just then, one of the decorative stone lions by the gate spoke, its voice deep and electronically synthesized. I'd hidden a speaker inside it that morning. Warning, unauthorized paternity claim detected. Cross-referencing with local DNA databases. Fetus exhibits a 99.99% genetic match with fugitive fraud suspect. Marco, please stand by. The crowd roared with laughter. Chloe's face turned a shade of crimson I'd never seen before. Enraged, she grabbed a loose brick from the landscaping and charged at the gate. But before she could get close, the automated sprinkler system kicked on, drenching her in powerful jets of water and mud. Then my front door opened. Buddy trotted out majestically, circled Chloe once, lifted his leg to mark his territory near her feet, and then trotted back inside with an air of profound disdain. I sat on my terrace, took a sip of coffee, and spoke to the robot vacuum by my side. Rambo, call building security. There's a crazy person causing a disturbance out front. And add an extra steak to Buddy's dinner tonight. Affirmative, Master Rambo bust. She wanted me back? Sorry. The only thing she was getting from me was a restraining order. After that final, public humiliation, Chloe and her family became a local legend, and not in a good way. They were broke in debt and completely out of options. That's when Kyle came up with his most brilliant idea yet. "I've figured it out," he announced. "The one thing Leo cares about more than anything is that stupid dog, Buddy. If we kidnap the dog, we can demand a ransom. He'll have to pay." In their desperation, Chloe and her mother agreed. The three of them started staking out my building, waiting for a chance to snatch Buddy during his daily walk. What they didn't know was that their entire plan had been relayed to Buddy by a network of streetlights, trash cans, and sewer grates. That afternoon, Buddy trotted out of the building as usual, a frisbee in his mouth. The three of them leaped out from behind some bushes, armed with a net and a rope. "Get him!" Buddy gave them a look of utter contempt, then turned and ran, leading them on a merry chase down a deserted alleyway. They cornered him at a dead end. "Nowhere to run now, you stupid mutt," Kyle sneered. Buddy dropped his frisbee and let out a single, sharp bark. "All right, boys, company's here." Suddenly, from over the walls and out from behind dumpsters, dozens of stray dogs emerged. They were big, small, scruffy, and mean-looking, and they were all growling, their teeth bared. These were the local strays I'd been feeding and looking after ever since I moved in. They saw me and Buddy as their benefactors, their leaders. Chloe and her family were surrounded. They screamed as the dogs closed in, not biting, but snapping and tearing at their clothes, knocking them to the ground. Right on cue, I drove up to the mouth of the alley. I rolled down my window and held up my phone. "Hello, police. I'd like to report an attempted kidnapping and extortion." "Yes, I have a recording." I hit play, and their own voices filled the air. "Kidnap the dog. We could demand a ransom. He'll have to pay." The recording had been captured by a smart collar I'd given to a stray cat that hung around the alley. The police arrived to find the three of them, clothes in tatters, cowering on the ground, surrounded by a silent, menacing pack of dogs. With the physical evidence and the recording, they were arrested on the spot. Buddy, his work done, picked up his frisbee and trotted back to me for a well-deserved head scratch. Chloe and her family, facing charges of attempted extortion on top of their existing financial crimes, were all sentenced to prison. Marco was eventually caught when the stolen car he was driving mysteriously stalled out in the middle of a police checkpoint. "Did a good job, didn't I, boss?" The car later told a junkyard tow truck who passed the message on to me. The guy smelled awful anyway. With him finally out of my life for good, I found my new purpose. I opened a special kind of repair shop. The sign on the door read, "Everything talks." I fixed things no one else could, not with schematics or diagnostics, but by simply asking the objects themselves what was wrong. A vintage grandfather clock told me one of its gears was worn. A rare collectible lighter complained its flint was jammed. An antique music box whimpered that it was homesick. I became known as the Fixer, a man with a magic touch. I no longer needed to deal with the messy complications of people. I preferred the company of old things, listening to the stories they had to tell. One day, I finished restoring a battered old music box that had survived a fire. As a thank you, it played me a melody it had composed itself, a tune no human had ever heard before. It was beautiful, full of a quiet strength and the joy of being whole again. I realized then that for all the lies and betrayal in the world, there was also this, an abundance of simple, loyal, and honest friends. That evening, I went home and sank into my new, comfortable sofa. "Long day, boss?" it asked gently. Would you like me to activate the massage function? But he snored peacefully at my feet. Rambo, finished with its cleaning cycle, hummed a happy little tune as it returned to its charging dock. Outside, the city lights twinkled like a million tiny stars. Inside, everything was finally quiet. Everything was good. The world is full of voices if you just know how to listen. And for the first time in a long time, I was truly happy.